Every inch of this place is covered in acorns. It's getting thicker and thicker the more we go up. And based on the wind today, I wouldn't be surprised if we kick a buck out. It is July 17th. We're back out here on Big Woods Public Land, and I'm going out to a remote area today that I thought I was gonna access by an old hiking trail with my bike. But on Monday, a couple days ago, we had torrential downpours, thunderstorms, and severe flooding. So this whole entire trail that I thought I was gonna bike in all the way around this mountain that I'm gonna climb up now and get an easy access up a drainage, well, it's just a disaster. Everything's washed out. But where we're going today is very remote. There's a lot of terrain, and if there is any bit of pressure in here, based on the fact that it's a hiking trail you can take to get all the way back in here, I'm expecting that the pressure is going to be in the ridges like our other spot. So I'm going up on top, and up on top there's a lot of different terrain. There's very choked down mountain laurel, as well as some little pocket swamps. So it's going to be very concentrated as where as they are, and there's supposed to be a lot of oaks back here. Now, I've never been back here. I don't know what I'm getting into, but based on satellite, it looks like where I'm going is going to be rather open with a little bit of thick areas, preferred terrain, and a lot of pinch points as well. So if we can find out where these oaks are and where they might be producing this year, then it should be easy to figure out where they're bedding, as well as where we can hunt them, because they have to go in specific areas with all this cover, swamps, laurels, you name it. So we made it across the creek, no problems. And we're getting at the base of the elevation here, and we already have a trail cutting across the underside. Before, what I didn't want to do, the straight up climb. I really thought today was going to be a nice little bike ride in to the deep part, take the easy part up through the drainage, and get right into where we want to go and find tons of sign. I wasn't expecting to have to scale this cliff today, but we're almost to the top. As you can tell, it's extremely rocky. And the whole way up was little ankle grabbers with little holes covered by wet leaves and moss. That you take one wrong step, your foot's getting broke. But it looks like we have a little top third action going on here. All the way out. Straight through the tunnel of that. But once we get up top here on this end, there's two knobs with a saddle between them. And what I'm expecting is that if there's any bit of pressure down here, or let's be honest, there's nothing down here but pine trees, that I think they're gonna be heading out the other way. So we finally got up on the top here. And as soon as we do, we have a hardcore trail going right along the edge of this. And coming up between these knobs, there's a very slight ravine that you can see right here. And we got a trail cutting along it this way. But I want to get right up on the edge of that ravine. But you can see where the elevation is starting to go up. And this is where the knob is going to start up there a little bit. So we're going to work this up the middle as a deer would enter and exit probably. Yeah, we got a deer sign in here already. Impressions. Droppings. And I don't know if this is a good trail or not, but geez. And this isn't even the top trail. This is a different trail cutting in. The other trail's over there on the edge. And it leads right to this ravine. All right, we're coming into the first knob here, which looks like it's just rocks piled up. That's giving it the elevation. And the other knob is over that way, and the saddle is in between it there. This was the last place I was gonna check, just to write it off, but this isn't close to where the oaks are supposed to be. And I feel like they're gonna be tucked in tight to the oaks as much as possible, and they're gonna be away from this side of the mountain. But again, we're not seeing any sign in here. We got open ferns here, no trails going through it. So we're just gonna go over the other side to where I said. Ooh, a lot of big rocks in here. Didn't see. You gotta be careful. So as soon as we got to the other edge, so we came from this way, but there's a trail coming along the edge of this. There's the saddle down there I was talking about. From here to the other knob, there's a trail coming right off of it. There's another one right there, it looks too, cutting across. And there's another one that goes through here with an old scrape on it right here. And this is leading to the area I was talking about. We're getting into more deer sign here. Coming across this. And we're gonna go up and we're gonna work this edge around because it says the acorns are on the bottom side on this specifically. And if they're not there, the further we go in, the more it says there's acorns. So we can just find the area that they're in, at least identify all the trees so we can check them later. Then we can find ourselves a little guaranteed honey hole. I'm not finding any really good sign yet. But we're getting over to the back side now where the main ridge side hits. And if there is no pressure back here, they're probably going to prefer to bed on these ridges. And that's not a rub. Those could be very old rubs that are healed over. Yeah, we got some. These are really healed over though. But it looks like at one point all these trees are rubbed. Yeah, they're definitely going to be bedding on this backside if anything, because look how nice this looks. It's not all pines. It's layered. Yeah. Is that a bed right there? No, just a flat spot. But they could bed anywhere in here. It's very well layered in this part. And I'm sure it's all going to connect here and come out because that drainage I wanted to come up is on the back side up there. And it leads into more thick stuff and mountain laurel. And it could be where we're finding a buck bedding on top as well with a nice little tight knob with mountain laurel. And on the other side of this knob here just leads to a straight drop off here. And it leads to that little flat bottom that I was talking about where I think all the deer are going to be concentrated. So I'm going to continue to work this out to find where this dips down off where they're running all these other knobs and then diving down to where the terrain meets it. This area back here is a ground hunter's dream. Nothing but rocks everywhere. And then you can see down here there's a big ditch. And the other side of it looks like the main travel. So you can literally hide behind this rock and shoot the deer coming around without ever being seen. Because it doesn't look like they want to come up across the way I'm coming now. It looks like they just want to wrap it. And it dives right down in front of that rock face. Because that other flat, I checked again, is where the most concentration of oaks are. Haven't found any oaks yet. So we're going to keep working the terrain to the places I have marked. Because if we go across this and up and through that way, pretty remote yet from here. So we came from this way, but it's starting to get really thick in here where it meets this terrain. And the top ridge over here is really tightening down. And there's supposed to be a big concentration of oaks through here that hopefully we find. But you can see the trail's getting really tight. Oh, and we got our first rub up here too. Really thick in here. Just weaving trails along this edge of this terrain. Looks like a decent rub. Yeah, just tunnels going through here. Oh, ow. Yeah, I don't see any really high marks either. Oh, up here actually. That looks old. That doesn't look like the same rub. So I think that's just a smaller deer. Hear the creek raging down there. Yeah, this is nasty. That's straight down. So while there might be acorns down there, that's a disaster. We'll have to see. Maybe on the way back we'll find on the lower elevation, but that's just a mess. I mean, the deer are obviously using this. The bucks are rubbing. Got another rub up here in this tree as well. And then you walk up on stuff like this, where that looks like an obvious rub. And then up at my upper chest, we have this wrapping around, broken branches off, and this whole tree limb up here is snapped as well. And that's above my head. So is that just a person running through here? Just lazily ripping branches out of the way? I don't know. That's crazy. Impossible to tell if that's a deer or not though. And the further we get through here, the closer we're getting, because this comes to almost like a point and then it drops down to that drainage, and they're supposed to be layered with oaks throughout this. And then the very thick mountain laurel starts on the back side. So it's almost like the top third of the entire mountain wraps into another level of the mountain going down. And that's where I wanted to start and I was most interested in because of how remote it is. It has a drainage coming out, it has terrain weaving, a lot of pinch points, and we're getting into scratchings, scrapes, whatever these are. We got another rub right there. And as soon as we get across this, which is another tunnel right there, it should lead us into a little bit more open and bedding terrain on the point of the ridge. And the more we get through here, the more sign we're seeing another scrape right there as well. And because this is so pinched down in here, it might be a good place to keep in mind for the camera, but I want to go to closer to the point and check first because I can probably get a lot more than just this on one camera. And if there is no oaks back here and we're not seeing the sign we want to see now, it could be a very good rut spot because of all the different bedding opportunities that converge. And another reason I wanted in this area is, like I said, the drainage means fresh water for these deer, so they could bed close by, get food and water in the same place. We're getting right close to the point of this now, where it meets the main drainage. You can see it's really steep, but it looks like it's not as bad, and it layers down on this part actually. And the trails are kind of really splitting off here once we get to this point. But we're gonna work the point out around to where it meets another collection area. So I came up off this side here because the trails going towards that point were kind of dead. They kind of dried up and there wasn't anything, so I came up across here. There's a very defined trail going across here that leads to that other trail I didn't take, where instead I took the edge of the ridge out. But it comes right up along here. It's very well defined. There's fresh doe droppings here I saw, but what caught my eye is out on the highest part out here of this point, not even on the edge, is a big rub. And it's right above where the terrain kind of, wow, look at this trail coming right here. And it's being used still, it's got tracks in it. But this is a little bit more exciting back here because look at this rub. That's a good rub right there. And it's coming across the top of this where it's a little bit more open, but it's still thick, which makes me think that there might actually be acorn trees up here that they're cutting across to. But yeah, I'm gonna mark that rub on my map just so I know, and we'll keep moving. It looks like there might be an ancient rub there that's kind of scratched up, but all this should lead right to the point here where the bedding would be. We're coming up on the point. There's a scrape right on it, which is a very good sign. And right off it is a trail that goes dive straight down to that drainage. This actually looks like an old quad trail or logging road, which worries me that someone isn't accessing this with the quad, because it'd be a long way, but you could easily do it from private land where I'm at. So it worries me that the private landers are accessing this area with the quad, but I have not seen any tree stands yet. Could be just rifle, but we do know that either mega rub or someone pissed off breaking a branch out of the way while walking is right on this terrain as well. So it very well could be that someone's illegally accessing this area, which happens a lot where you have these public land next to private. They think that because they have private land bordering it, they know they'll never get busted, so they truly don't care and just make their own quad trails into the public land. And usually it's so remote in those spots that people aren't going there anyway. And this is the other side of the ridge that I was talking about, where the drainage comes up. And you could tell that it's obvious terrain going down. And it means that I think they're going to be bedding along this then, because they can see everything. Anyone coming from this way can't get within 50 yards without being seen. And they can use the wind at their back then to check everything else. But you can see that trail, or quad trail, whatever it is, goes straight back through there. Which I wouldn't doubt it that it's private landers abusing their access. And as I say that, we got a bucket down here for one of them to sit on. That's someone's hunting bucket, hunting this back ridge. And if they're hunting there, that means it's a rifle for sure. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna be one of those private landers using that illegal road. Which doesn't mean there isn't big bucks back here. So I am going to look at my maps and rethink the pressure, because usually when I figure out an area on maps, the first thing I look for is finding the best spot I think it is, and then immediately checking how easy it is to get to, the pressure, the access, how it could get messed up, how people are pressuring the area could affect where they actually are. So we're gonna rethink this real quick and make another game plan, because all the sign we've seen is next to where someone's been hunting before. So then my guess, so that means this whole ridge then, I kind of want to just write off, because we probably know that that rub's in rut and not just a home body. And what deters a rifle hunter or someone who's out here hunting is the extremely thick stuff. So I think we're gonna go back towards those mountain laurels where I know there's terrain and spots, and treat those mountain laurels as if they're almost swamps. And then I know of a couple spots they could be bedding or traveling, and we could figure out how to use this pressure to our advantage. So that guy's bucket is up there, and you can see that down here it's just a wide open bottom of a drainage, and there's ferns, and then the terrain continues down on that part, which we're going to go down here and check and cut across, and then go up and check out where all this terrain is next to the laurels and everything that's really thick. Because while this guy's still hunting here, it doesn't mean that he's even hunting archery, or if he's even in the area or pressuring deer. Like you can't just get discouraged by hunting pressure, because more than likely you can use it to your advantage. But even still, like this ridge going out that I was talking about, if they're accessing the way I think they are from private, coming across this and then going way the heck out there, they may not be hitting it back here because they can't drive directly to it. So you never know, but we're still gonna go back there on the way out to our bike. So here's the top of the actual drainage I was referring to, where it all dumps down the steep terrain. And we have old, but that's definitely a rub at some point. No. You can see where this drainage comes down. It looks like the deer are even using it a little bit too. But we had such bad flooding that you could see like a river was going through this. And then you got an actual trail maybe going through this. So there's definitely deer in this area, using this area a lot. It is humid out today. And I was getting to the point where I was walking without paying attention. I wasn't focused. So I was losing my edge. So I'm like, well, maybe I should just stop, take a break, drink some water, get some peanut butter crackers out. And I open up the peanut butter crackers and I look to my right. I'm like, man, that looks like a very mature oak tree. So I'm looking up, and then I look down by my feet, and where did it go? There's actually caps down here. So we actually have oaks that are producing back here. Now whether or not they're this year or not, but we got 2 mature oaks. This one kind of looks dead, but this one's still producing. And it looks like we have another one right there going up. So the drainage is right there. That guy is over on this ridge up there, but immediately as soon as I come on this other side, we're finding oaks. And it leads, this trail that we're on now goes out to a tiny little point. Oh, it looks like there's like some old rubs right here too. There's a tiny little point, and it keeps going up to the top. And where I think they're bedding on the highest part, I'm pretty sure that's where the very, very thick mountain laurel starts. So I'm guessing that that's where I'll find big buck sign. Yeah, we got another rub here. As soon as we start finding oak trees, we start seeing old rubs. It looks like they got mold in them too. So they're probably, those trees probably produced last year, which means they probably won't produce this year. So then there's other oak trees in here, like that big one right there. That's a big oak tree right there. So this area has them. And as long as we find the bedding, we should be good. And we're just continually getting more oaks in here too. So these knobs might be the focal point in this area if I'm going to hunt it. And I have to make sure they're producing though. But if there's this many oaks back here, there's another one over there. If there's this many oak trees back here, there has to be one of them that's producing. Yeah, we are loaded with oaks back here. And you can tell there must be a lot because there must be a lot of oaks back here too, because these aren't just completely gone. Yeah, every inch of this place is covered in acorns. And we have fresh tracks coming right off this point. So we're gonna go down to the bottom of the point and then work it backwards just so we can cover everything. So if we can figure out where they're bedding and how to hunt this, because there's oaks everywhere in here, but you can see how the terrain comes up. So my main focus is up here. All those rubs are going up the side of this, and it just keeps going higher and higher. So if we can figure out how high the bucks want to be, they'll probably bed in the same preferred spot based on wind, how protected they feel, and then they can work to all these oaks at night. They don't necessarily need to be bedded on top of them because they are literally everywhere. So the place we started was way over there, but we had terrain, we had knobs, we had everything. We weren't seeing a lot of deer sign, and that's because there wasn't oaks. Because how long would it take us to walk from there to there? It's not far at all, and there's tons of oaks on this side. And I didn't see any oak trees over there like I did here. So it just shows you that you have to be where the food's at in order to find these deer. It's getting thicker and thicker the more we go up. And based on the wind today, I wouldn't be surprised if we kick a buck out on the top of this point. Because it's pretty obvious this point up here, once you get up here, it gets a little bit steeper really fast. Yeah, I would not be surprised if we bump a buck up today. We got a meaty trail coming down here as well. Dipping right down the drainage. But what I'm concerned about is we have a tree here with a posted sign on it. And we are nowhere near the private land. I have Onyx maps out. So this is either someone being cheeky, trying to protect their spot. But I'm gonna check the name on this because we are not on private property right now. There's no name on it. There is a hardcore trail going around it, and they have it dotted out, but there's not even a public land tags on the other side of the trees where there always is. They usually put a metal circle thing. They have the wide open trail like they usually do, and another posted sign, which is really unfortunate because conveniently right behind this poster is the start of the point right here. Onyx tells me if I drop a point and drop a point, we are 616 yards away from the private border by Onyx. It's unfortunate, but even still, that means that these people are accessing the crap out of this area, probably by quad, because this trail is about 4 feet wide going down here. So if these guys are ripping through here, calling this, oh, there's a deer. You kidding me? That's a shame he was by himself. Doesn't he know it's private property? He came right down off that point on the other side. I don't know what to do. I really don't. I could go deeper in, but if there's people accessing this by quad or whatever back here, this place is probably destroyed and they probably drive it out. It really discourages me. I don't even want to put a trail camera back here because it's just going to end up stolen, because you know they're walking around this edge down here where these acorns are. There's more acorns down across the other way, so maybe I can find a little sneaky little spot because we just saw a little buck there, but there's no way a big buck's going to be bedded where they're coming through all the time. That buck was literally walking down the road they carved. So we're still finding acorns everywhere throughout here. But I'm gonna go down to where a point comes out here and it dives down into some really thick stuff. And you can see it's getting really thick and there's a lot of ravines in here. So there could be the bucks bedding on these ravines, at least the bigger, older bucks, because they know that the hunting pressure from the private land's up there. Or they're still bedding up there and I'm just overreacting. But I'm still not gonna put a camera in the best spot because I don't want it to get stolen. But if I'm feeling gutsy one day, and it's the same wind we're having today, I'll go up, I'll even hunt just off that property border, wait till they get past me and then shoot them so they run down. And as I say that, what the hell? Help! Just as I thought. I got a poster up there, cutting across. And I can see where the line goes, and I think we're okay. So they have these posters twisting right to that point, and I bet you they have that point closed off too. And this is even further away from where Onyx says. Onyx says it's probably close to 800 to 1,000 yards now where I'm at from any private property. That's really old, that's a big rub. We got some stuff over here. And again, coming off these points. Everything is coming off these points, feeding on acorns. We got an old rub here. It's not very high. There's no really tine marks around it. But you can see way out there is going to be the point. We could still hunt this. There's other public land people who are a little more receptive to hunting pressure, but if you get in close to these private land, it's just not something I want to deal with. So we're going to loop down, back around and see if we find something on the way out. Because on the way out, while it could still have pressure, I know for sure it's public, and I don't know if they'll go through the hassle of where I plan on going. There is so many rubs in the areas here where there are oaks all along this, and this is almost like a little mini point here on a lower elevation. This just might be one of those spots I come in on a whim, no trail camera, nothing, just come in here and hunt it because it's obvious where they are and how they're traveling based on the oaks. And we saw one buck come off that point. It's just whether or not they come down in time. I don't want to risk a camera out here. I do not. So if we're feeling it and we want to just come in and hunt it, I think that's what we do. Find some buck droppings here. I'm still following prints of either a bear or person, but it's hard to tell because they're washed out tracks. But they're heading down. Ouch! That's what I'm talking about. Oh, my foot just went in there. Oh, we're okay. A little bruised. Oh, it hurt. We slid right into that. But there is some fresh droppings. Obvious terrain. There's a swamp up here as well. So this is kind of our last ditch effort on the way out to find some protected bedding. Getting really thick down there. We have some laurel starting to pop up and it's turning into a swamp up here and a very defined edge trail going up. We got a fern clearing up here as well. You can see forever down there. Who knows, maybe we'll find some big buck sign on this end. Because we got some good trails in here, right off this swamp. That looks nice back there even. I want to stay to the edge though, because that's where the deer are going to probably be. Got some fresh doe droppings there. We got a bunch of trails. They keep diving off this wherever they want as well. So this is definitely a bedding area up here next to the swamp. pretty wide open in this stuff. I might dive into this a little bit and see what's going on. Again, there's lots of sign in here. I wonder if there's some sort of preferred browse in here or something. What is that? A chair. It just keeps getting better and better today. Someone leaves their chair out here to go hunting. I'm waiting to see a camera. This is some obvious clearing and browsing area. Probably some scrapes in here and tunnels going through it. Gonna be another area we keep in mind, but it's hard to commit to putting time into these areas when you don't know what other people are doing and you think is secluded and remote, but you find chairs, buckets, garbage bags with who knows what was in it. There's probably trail cameras that I haven't seen yet in here. And they're all along this ridge that I wanted to scout. Just fine. Hopefully it's just another public land hunter. He put his chair in a bag, but you're not supposed to leave stuff out here over winter. So is he just coming up here and rifle and hunting? Is he sitting in a chair with a crossbow? I don't know. But we're gonna head on out. Overall, we found a lot of sign, deer, acorns. It's great, but we're not the only one that found it. And whether we're dealing with people who are following the law or not, we'll never know. The only place I'm interested in hunting was where those acorns were. Even if we have to hunt tight to that property border, I don't know where else up here it would be worth hunting without having to spend time in the rut or something, because they could be anywhere. But we know those acorns are concentrated in that one area where the point is. There's more rubs over here. And unless we see something on the way out, I think that's it for this area.